Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. And what other topic would we have this week, right? They finally announced the date for CitizenCon. If you guys haven't seen any information, robertspaceindustries.com/CitizenCon, October 8th, Saturday. And they're, like they had told us in the letter for the chairman, there will not be a keynote. So there won't be Chris Roberts coming on stage going, and then, telling Glenn to do something, and there be some silly demo that will never come to fruition in the actual video game. I think they finally realized that they hurt more than they help, and here we are. So it's going to be a bunch of panels around a bunch of things that sound like they want them coming relatively soon, and I don't know. So just quickly, my thoughts on everything. My expectations are incredibly low. I think we're going to get a bunch of developers creating PowerPoints and talking about some of their work, and maybe a lot more around game development than actual game updates. I think there is a glaring missing things and people. There's no Chris Roberts on any panels. There is no Tony Z or mention of the quantum economy. There is no mention of server meshing. Anything that is paramount and extremely important for Star Citizen's future is non-existent on this panel. It is all minor things that are being labeled as the road to 4.0, essentially, which none of those things are monumental or absolutely necessary for 4.0 to exist. They are more of things that would enhance 4.0 once it does exist, right? So it's an interesting one. I don't really know how to feel about it, and I don't even know if I should care about it. It's okay, I think, if you don't. I think it's great if you do, and I kind of just want to hear what other people think about this, because I kind of just am whatever about everything. It's how I've kind of been lately. It's more about what are you going to do to make the game better? And I don't think any of that can happen until we have server meshing, we have servers working, all these things. I think all these conversations are essentially for naught if we're not moving the game's engine forward. So we'll have to see. And they're clearly doing what they can with what they have. But without further ado, let's jump into our first caller, and that is Evil Ducky. Ducky, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You were very loud, so let me turn you down a bit. And I think I know why. When we were playing the other day, nope, I have you at 100, so.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you, though. So, what are your expectations? High, low?
Low. I mean, I've been following and watching these Citizen Cons since the start of them. And, the first few were exciting, and then you start to see that some stuff doesn't start coming out as soon as they say, and then you start to dial back your expectations. But at this point, I just watch them to see what they present and stuff like that, because it is cool to see the stuff that they're working on, hopefully. But, any of the stuff that I see here, I don't expect to see for a year or two, if that.
Okay. Can you go push to talk, Ducky, or something? Because I hear myself.
Oh, I am push to talk.
Okay, just I guess we'll do our best to try, and I won't talk when you're talking at all. But yeah, I don't know. I look at all the panels and I'm just kind of still waiting for Star Citizen to do something, and still waiting to see tangible progress, right? I think Morph got a really hard time from the community when he made a video, and I've done the same thing, is this is not the year for Star Citizen. When you look at the panels at CitizenCon, it kind of feels like next year isn't either, and next year was kind of supposed to be the year.
Yeah, that's what they said last year. Everything was supposed to come. We're supposed to get all this good stuff, and here we are, nearing the end. And the two good things that they were really pushing for was, the PES and the server meshing. And now, like you said, server meshing isn't even talked about here. So it'd be interesting to hear what happened or where it's at. But CIG's track record right now is they kind of go silent when stuff's not going good. So it'll be interesting to hear. But there is from the panels, like I said, I'm probably gonna watch them all. But the only one I'm super excited for is the Lorville one, because I love Lorville. It is my home.
A lot of people feel that way. I don't know if it's my home. I don't know if my home will ever even be in Stanton, but I guess if I was to choose a place now, I think I'd still choose ArcCorp, but I do get the appeal for Hurston. I get the appeal for Lorville, and it's a cool place. I mean, the Lorville Business District, I think, is one of the coolest places in the entire game.
Yeah, I just love that industrial look and feel of it. Like the kind of, it's not super clean. It's not this upclass thing. It's just, this is where like the everyday people of Stanton are supposed to be. Like, you don't get those rich, snotty little people and stuff like that from the other places. But like Lorville, Grimhacks, those are all fun to be at. I love their atmosphere. But looking at Lorville, just from playing there a lot, the things that I'm excited for and I hope to see are some of the reimagination of the no-fly zone areas.
Yes.
And because right now you can't land your vehicle or your ship close to the outskirts to get your little land vehicle and stuff like that. So it makes it really difficult.
Yeah, for sure. It's when Microtech came in and New Babbage specifically, obviously, that was the change to landing zones that I don't think anybody knew they needed. Yeah. Right? So I look at this and go, do they need to do this? No, not necessarily. But when you do look at a place like Microtech, you kind of feel like everywhere definitely needs to be brought up to that standard and then move forward from there. I don't think that, like, if we eventually get a rework to Microtech, it needs to be many, many, many years from now, as well as a release of the game later. I think there's no need to really take it much further other than maybe make the interiors of the buildings there accessible. Yes. But yeah.
Now Lorville there's so much, just looking at the area of Lorville, there's just so much that could be done. Like they have those landing pads and stuff around the main ones that you land at. Mm-hmm. Those would be, if they make those accessible, like, how they have station pads where you can just land there, get fuel and go. If they made that the same, that'd be awesome. Or land there to get cargo, just to see vehicles bringing cargo out, to those pads and stuff. That'd be awesome to watch.
Yeah, for sure. It's just such an industrial place, and anybody who's interested in anything industrial, it just feels like the place you're supposed to be.
Yep. Yeah, and I love the mining aspect. So I just love like the Argo Mole, and I live in the mole and stuff. It's one of my favorite ships, and like the Argo Raft and the Drake feel, the Misk feel is just so much better, I think. But outside of that, for the panels, the only other two that I'm kind of interested are the underground ones. Mm-hmm. To see where those go. I mean, the underground bunkers and stuff are really cool, and I would love to see those expanded to more rooms and bigger styles and stuff like that, along with caves. I don't know if that fits the underground, but caves are something I'm really excited for. I want larger caves where we can drive like rocks in and go mine with the rock and stuff like that. I would love that.
I mean, I'm getting the impression from this panel that it's taking the underground bunkers that we currently have and bringing them up to probably what maybe we deserve a little bit more. And it does sound like caves are involved in that. There might be separate entrances and sneaky entrances, and yeah, that's how I see it. But
oh yeah, that would be so cool. And then lastly, I always love just to listen to the ship talk stuff. I know it's kind of just thrown there and they kind of say the same things over and over. And it's just always fun to see the progression of some ships and stuff like that. And then sometimes it's kind of worrying on other ones. But at the same time, I know that's just how, development goes. But, just hearing the ships and stuff, because I love the spaceships in this game. They're just so cool to me. So much fun.
I mean, I don't agree with that entirely, but that's me. I do totally understand the importance of ships in the game. They take you from everywhere you need to go. They are a part of everything that you would do, no matter what. They're unavoidable. They are paramount. They are the most important thing in the game. So I obviously love to hear the talks about them too. I think we're all just probably tired of the amount of focus that they have versus what you do with said ships and where they bring you and why they bring you there. But it is what it is. I mean, what do you think about them saying commerce as a thing in the in one of those panels? That's one of the ones that I was like, that I raised eyebrows on that, maybe shook my head a little bit.
I'm not. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any feelings on it, to be honest. I mean, if they do stuff with it, then great. If not, then
status quo.
Yeah. But from that, that's the only things I was excited for the CitizenCon. There's things I kind of wish that they were also talking about that are on here. I would love to see a panel called like quality of life. What they want to do with their quality of life stuff. Like there's a few things that they could probably, I'm just so excited to hear about, and you just never hear anything about it. You don't see anything on it. Like I want to see information on like the updated star map. I want to know where they are with MFD persistence, like those little things, and like better navigation of ships. Those are like the quality of life things I think need to be in the game sooner than later, but we just don't hear anything on them.
Yeah. I don't know. What about the lack of Chris Roberts? I don't know if we touched on that.
I honestly, if Chris Roberts never talked again, I would be okay with that. He just makes so many promises, and his passion for the game is there, and I love that. But at the same time, like I feel like he just makes all of these statements, and then the devs are just like, wait a minute, whoa, I don't know if this is possible. So, and I just I could care less. I hate listening to people talk for a long time like that, and in the style that Chris Roberts does. Like I said, his passion's there. It's fun, but most of the time I just fast forward some of the stuff. And like if he just never talked again in a panel, I'd be okay with that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the passion and excitement comes enough from the community now that we don't need the.
Yeah, I mean, Jared could do a panel and talk, and I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I'd rather have Jared be the hype man than anybody else at this point.
Exactly. That's all I got.
All right, Ducky. I appreciate it, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and keep an eye out for Discord. Let's hang out and let's play some.
Yeah, sounds good. Take care.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye. All right, and our next caller is Quams. Quams, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. All good.
Awesome. Yes, I think I'll need to turn you up a little bit, but that's fine. I got you.
Hey.
Yeah, what are your Sitcom expectations? And I guess we touched on quite a few subjects, and feel free to touch on any of those.
Yeah, mine are pretty low, and I actually liked it. Funny enough, because it's never like, oh yeah, like the last years there will be one big release, and then you get excited, and then nothing happens. And this year is like what? It's a set of interesting panels, especially the last 4 ones. I don't care that much about the first ones. So everything like below this, the flight model stuff. And I quite as before as the caller before, I quite like that there is none of the big brains in the panel this year. I mean, I just don't need another Chris Roberts streaming and promising stuff coming up. I mean, it's awesome that as we all know, it's awesome that he has this visions and this stuff going forward. But they need to get the base finally done and ready, and then Chris Roberts can start again. I'm a bit disappointed that there's nothing about this whole cargo refactor thing. I would have hoped to see something there, which makes me also a bit like antsy. Like, okay, that means they hit a wall or hit resource problems. And I'm quite looking forward to see what's happening there. But yeah, let's see what the flight model changes actually bring, because there's a lot of room, and Yogi has been hinting on those for ages now, that they're doing stuff in the back on all his posts on Spectrum. So I'm a bit interested, but again, there's no psyching about no hype, and I like it, honestly.
Yeah, like, I mean, the previous CitizenCons were revealed many months before the events, obviously, because people would need to buy tickets and flights and hotels and all these things to actually go there. And this time they just kind of threw it in our lap a month before it comes out, and that's it. And like, I don't know if I'm going to actually even be watching it live with the stream like we've done in many years past. I didn't do it last year because I didn't find the panels interesting enough. Looking at this one, I'm not sure. The commerce thing written in the underground bunker thing interests me, but I don't believe it is anything, because it almost is implying that there's already commerce in the game and they're just adding it to the bunker, which I think if anybody's played the game, I think that's one of the most severely lacking issues. But I'm glad you mentioned the flight model stuff. The talking about that is way less important than having it in your hands, but at the same time, I think it is as important about hearing about new ships and seeing new ship concepts. I think it's probably 10 times more important. So, yeah, I'm interested in that panel as well.
For me, as a European, it's a pretty nice timing wise. It starts at 5:00 in the afternoon, which basically means on a Saturday, and I'm traveling back from deployment I have for my work. So I'm roughly arriving late afternoon. So maybe I just sit down for the last 4 ones, after emptying coffer and starting the washing machine, and listen to it if flight travel doesn't completely fuck me up, which tends to happen these days. But yeah, it's really the really interesting part, and you have been talking on your streams when I was listening in quite a bit about that whole thing over the last days. It's not, as I said, it's not the big one. It's a smaller one. It's more a lot of information dump. It's maybe a bit in the direction what Ashes of Creation is doing with their monthly information 1 hour stream they do. I mean, that CitizenCon will be a bit longer, I guess, but the ship panel at the end, that's just because ships are nice, as
they're a big part of the game.
Yeah, it's just looking and dreaming, but yeah, and I mean, power play is the other thing. I mean, they can power management, the resource management thing. I don't know if I say I'm excited about it, because there are too many pitfalls where they can completely screw it up.
I think it's just so far away. I think they're doing the thing they always do. Tease something that looks cool, and it is we are going to have the same conversations we have around other CitizenCon elements that still are not in the game around that specific subject, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
If I was to choose anything that won't make it in the next year, it would be that.
Sadly, I think you're right. But it's still interesting to see what they are, because it's a long thing. I mean, I think it's 2 years ago or something when there was this IC with Dan Druffin, when he actually put out the first ideas. And
yeah,
let's see. The one thing where I'm a bit fearful, disappointed, if it's the right way to put it. And again, I have the same thoughts as you proclaimed a couple of times on your stream. Is I would have loved to have an PES demonstration. Not like talking about not making the architectural boxes. I mean, I'm a software architect by trade, so basically I like these things. But yeah, as you said, well, let's log in a server, let's kill the server, let's see the 30K, and then restart the server and go in, and you see the stuff still lying around. Just prove it in a sandbox for us. Just show it. Let's push it forward. I read it.
Why should I believe them? They just wrote it on a piece of what does that mean to me? It doesn't mean anything.
No, it's and they don't have the track record. It's the
exactly.
thing is the track record is more like we have this nice boxes, a nice presentation, and somebody really is excited and makes us all excited as well. And then, I remember a talk an ATC we had, I think, almost over 2 years. I think it was pre-COVID, about when the cargo decks came out. About cargo. I know what's the cargo system bringing up to, yeah. And we were looking at this visually beautiful cargo decks, and that's all they are.
And they still are exactly the same.
Yeah, it's
you would have thought, like, you put that in, it was a priority. Remember when they talk about, like, priorities? Why the fuck were cargo decks ever a priority?
Yeah, well, why
if you weren't going to do anything with them?
Yeah. The refinery decks, they have their stuff, there's gameplay behind it. There's things happening. You can like it or hate it. I'm a bit mixed. I haven't had time to play for quite a while. But, it's still the cargo decks and the whole cargo refactor. I had hoped, when I was looking through this whole panels, I had hoped for a cargo refactor panel. But yeah, it's interesting how ambivalent I'm about that one. How like, it's cool, and not. I remember it must be a while. I don't know how many years ago. CitizenCon, where actually you were still you were with Reductus, with Saurus and Board Gamer, and you had this whole streaming session of the live CitizenCon. And I remember pretty well because I was alone in the office, and I had it on my second screen, while doing some programming work, the three of you discussing the panels, and there was a lot of excitement and like, yeah, look what's happening out there. Now it's more like, oh yeah. Well, it's more interesting. It's basically
the tone is so different now and I think it's a healthier tone from CIG. It's still not good. It's still, we get them a lot of marketing videos and all those things. They got to do what they got to do, I guess, and it is what it is. But just like, I would love to go back and watch my tone and what excited me back then, because I nearly have nothing left at this point. Yeah.
It's one can feel it on the streams, and I also can see it on my own. It's usually especially when I was traveling for a while, when I came back, I usually fired up my gaming rig and let's play a round of Star Citizen. Mm-hmm. And these days it's more like, yeah.
There's a lot of other cool games out there,
Yeah. Sadly, the other game I'm really hyped about, and won't come as a surprise to you, even though our fantasy background is a bit different, because I'm coming from World of Warcraft. I'm really excited. I'm really interested and positively hyped now for Ashes of Creation. Let's see what comes out of there. And as you said, maybe Star Citizen is in such a deep grow that those guys pushed their game out before, and then I will play that for a while.
Yeah, I just look at it. The only way that I look at Ashes of Creation now is, and I just look at it as a very interesting take on a very similar way that Star Citizen kind of communicated and funded their project. They're both ambitious games. Obviously, Star Citizen's ambition far exceeds anything that anybody else is trying to do. So it's hard to compare the two games, but I think that you could definitely compare the way that they communicate and the way that they kind of, for the most part, after Kickstarter, stuck to their scope of the game and didn't go too far into the just development creep hell that Star Citizen has. And I just prefer Ashes of Creation's communication. They do their one thing a month, and then honestly, I don't think about it very much after that. And then And then as the end of the month approaches, I look forward to that. And then they do another update. And if it's cool, it's cool. And for me, once I get the game in my hands, we'll kind of see if that game is going to be a success or not with Alpha 2. I think you'll be able to gauge pretty well from that point, and we'll see. And that's basically Alpha 2 is when Ashes becomes Star Citizen, where it's an alpha that's open all the time, and we'll see.
Yeah. And we see if they go different. I mean, you're right. Ashes is a tremendously ambitious, but they have the feature set layout far more clearly. I guess it's easier to do in a fantasy MMO. Maybe
their ambition doesn't sound impossible. Yeah. They don't have to make up things that don't exist to make it happen. They have an engine that appears to be capable of doing everything that is within their ambition, right? Whereas, make those comparisons to Star Citizen. You just can't. And that's why I think we're to take it all the way back to CitizenCon, look at the updates we have. A mission, a few planets and what they look like, an underground bunker, ship speeds, and more concepts. That is the update.
Yeah, but I would like to break the lance a bit. Maybe for the ship speed stuff. I mean, this is the core game loop, and this is the resource eating, resource devouring game loop of Star Citizen. I'm working in robotics, so we deal a lot with simulations as well. So I have a pretty good idea on the computational effort they need to do for the flight model. It's really not as easy as it sounds. This is one of those where the devil sits in the detail, and there's a big devil. So I'm sort of interested in what they're doing there, and if they solve these ambiguities they currently have, which makes it less fun. I'm not so crazy like, oh yeah, this justing, and what you sometimes read people who don't understand that it's a sweet spot. It's something where it all comes together when you have a 60 or 3D plus rotation movement. It will come to not this kind of positional combat and positional stuff you have in where there's an atmosphere, so where there's something pulling down, where you actually have an advantage, so sitting on top of someone. But I'm always was a problem with the speeds coming in. So let's see. Maybe that is the hidden interesting thing coming out. But the other thing is as before. So. I mean, they show it, and then the question is, I can guarantee you they will promise it will be in 3.18. And then oh no, it will never make it 3.18. It will be before skipped out, or they say it will come maybe 3.19 or 4.0, and then oh yeah, it's the world will have changed 10 times over until they have it out.
Yeah, that's true.
It's I'm again. It's which makes me really smile in a funny way is this indifference I have to this whole thing. It's not like, oh yeah, when nobody cares. It's more like, oh cool, something comes along. Oh, maybe if I have a time, I watch it. If I don't, well, there's YouTube, and I can look, or maybe just wait for a React video from you, and then have something where I can either curse the screen because I'm not in your opinion, or curse with you together because I think they're saying super stupid things. But I don't know. It's the indifference is interesting, and I don't think that we are special in any way. I think that that is the general sentiment of the most of the community and players these days. But the funding still comes in like crazy. And maybe we get a game before all of us have to retire and are not.
I think that's the one positive that I take out of this is it doesn't seem like a marketing centric CitizenCon. It doesn't seem like a funding drive. They have their two major funding drives a year, and you got IAE, you got Invictus, and that's where they push that. And this does at least appear like it's about the game. It's about what they're currently working on, and outside of Squadron, obviously. And that is a positive thing I take from this.
Yeah, it looks a bit like as if two ISCs have stumbled over each other, made out of children.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
All
Which
right,
is not,
oh, go ahead.
which is not necessarily bad, on a second note. It's not necessarily bad.
Yeah, not
Mike,
at all.
Mike, it was nice chatting with you again.
Yes.
And yeah, looking forward to your content.
Curse at me at the screen, please.
I will. I will.
Tell me when I'm wrong. Thank you, man.
See you around.
Bye now.
Ciao.
Bye. Just like a roboticist, like that's my favorite thing sometimes. It blows my mind because like usually they say when you stream, you kind of bring like-minded or similar people around you. It always blows my mind sometimes when somebody who's like super smart or just so different comes to the channel and finds a place here too. It's somebody like Qualms. There's plenty of people like you guys out there, and I don't know. There's something special about that. I like that about streaming. It brings people, I think, more that are unlike you to talk about things and learn from each other and grow. I think that's one of the cool things about streaming. All right, our next caller is Henrik. Henrik, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. How you doing?
I'm going great. Finally got it, my Ethernet work.
Nice. Let me putting your name on the screen right now. I wasn't sure when me and Qualms were ending.
Yeah.
All right. You are up there. So, what are your expectations? I mean, I know you don't play too much Star Citizen. You're not as interested and following it. Are you kind of like, if I have time, I'll watch this. If not, I'll go do something else? Or what are your feelings around CitizenCon?
The expectation is pretty low as everyone else's, but yeah, I will try to see it live if I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Probably family-wise, if anything comes up. But right now, my calendar is clean.
For now, yes. We have a whole month to fill it, though. Any panels in particular?
Was the power one, the power management.
Why? I mean, that's the one that I would say is the furthest away. You think it's going to be pretty like technical? Is that why you're excited for it?
No, because I think it's the most likely to come in.
Really? So you're on the opposite spectrum of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Right there.
Why do you think
that? Because I don't see any hooks on Entity Graph for it. It can technically run without. System. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. The only difference is it needs all the art in the ships. So you think we'll just get it on like the one, I guess it's the whole A and the Hammerhead, and maybe that's why they went with the whole A, is because they wanted to show a quick demo of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think tiny little ship.
I think they will show it on some ship, and then we can play around with it. And start to balance it.
I can get behind that, I guess. I see that point of view.
So yeah,
trying to think. What about no Chris Roberts? What do we think about that?
As everything he shows never comes, so
I don't.
It takes 1 to 2 years.
I think he will make an appearance.
100% he will. I don't think he can stay off the camera.
Yeah, I don't think he can avoid this one, but just not on a panel, you know?
Yeah.
No.
Actually, didn't we have a CitizenCon where he didn't show up?
No.
No, I was thinking about it.
No, he was very briefly on last year's, I believe. Did they do a demo last year?
Yeah, they did the demo with the Yellow Planet.
Oh,
that was last year. Yeah.
Wow. Was that last year?
That was last year. Yeah.
Oh no, they did the Yellow Planet, and it wasn't really a demo. It was like it was like this mix of like, look at our clouds and then look at the missions. Kind of, it was very weird.
Look at the traversal.
Yeah.
More or less. So there's some new outpost.
Yeah, it was like an interesting way of doing their keynote thing, I guess. But yeah, he did show up a little bit at the beginning, a little bit at the end, and I imagine that's maybe what we get.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care personally. I think
maybe he also will show up between the panels. I will guess they will show around the new offices there in the UK.
Are they open?
I'm not sure. I don't know. But I will guess they're quite close.
Maybe.
And they
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I just think for me, it doesn't exude confidence for next year. It doesn't, like, I think every year I've ever followed Star Citizen, even though I didn't think the next year was going to be great or the game was going to finish, I always like had a very significant carrot on the stick. Like, all right, these are the steps that they say they're going to take. Those steps feel like they're going to be good. And this is the first year that I just go, I don't have that feeling. I'm more indifferent than I've ever been. And this CitizenCon doesn't make it any better. If anything, it makes it worse.
Yeah, I think it's because they don't have a stick because they are trying to get the Instagram in and all of that PS.
Yeah, they have the tech and then Squadron, right? Like it's hard to show it's hard to show the technical side of like the PES and server meshing thing. Like that panel last year was very dry, I thought. And then they obviously don't want to show Squadron, so what do they do?
Yeah, although it would be funny to see the side mission again
for the fourth time in a row, them pretending to sneak behind somebody when the NPC is clearly just scripted and
and also see him the new stuff like the scanners and all of that have come. All of that they didn't have then when they showed it.
How about this?
So,
what would be something that they can show that would really excite you out of the panels that are there? Is it nothing, or is there something that that would exceed my expectations of what's there?
It would be a PTO of PS.
So basically 318. Like at CitizenCon, they'd be like, and by the way, there's a PTU of 318. Okay. Okay. And then everybody just crashes the servers.
Yes.
The whole website crashes. I can see that. Okay.
I could see them doing it, but I'm not sure.
I mean, who knows at this point?
Who knows?
Yeah. But all right, Henrik, it sounds like we're about done. We will continue our discussions around the eco server. I finally will have time to sit down and talk about that stuff.
I got through all your comments throughout the last months today.
Yeah,
I had a lot to catch up on.
Yes, we talked a lot. So,
but
all right,
sounds
brother.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
I have a really eco age.
Yeah, I think we're getting it for sure. We'll talk to you, man.
Talk to you.
Bye now. Bye. All right, and our final caller is Darwin's Misfit. Excuse me. Can you hear me, Darwin's? Because first-time callers, I'm not sure about microphone and all that stuff.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, you sound great. Awesome. Let me just put your name there, Misfit. And what are your expectations and how you feeling? No CR, all that stuff.
Expectations are very low.
Okay.
I've been a backer since, 2015?
Okay, so quite a while.
Yeah.
Pre 3.0. So you went through that whole debacle.
Yes.
Pre Answer the Call 2016.
Yes.
You've been through the trenches, brother.
Yes.
All right.
I'm not excited. I don't see a lot of development. I've been away for like maybe 3 years now. I came back. I like a lot of what has happened.
I just think you don't understand quadruple A development, Darwin's. I think that's
Yeah,
just it. You
absolutely.
just
Not at
don't
all.
have an understanding of this. Let me explain it to you. Okay? It's where you get everyone excited for one game, but you don't make that game. You make a different game. That's what quadruple A development is. And then you tell everybody that you can't show that game.
I'm not gonna lie. I am super excited for Squadron 42. I
know,
hope
so
it
am I.
blows my mind.
Do you think they will mention it at all?
I do not.
Me
I do
too,
not
'cause
think they will mention it.
Letter for the
I-
chairman, they set that expectation very clearly, and yeah.
Yes. It's just it. I don't know. My expectations are low because there are things that are not being touched on.
hmm
The PES, the server meshing, and there's another one that I think a real big opportunity that a lot of the community is missing out on is procedural generation. Why do we only have one system after 10 years?
Because we don't.
Yes.
We have more than
there's
one. We have, I would guess, multiples. I mean, they're already past Pyro, I believe, and are pretty far or moving towards Nyx at this point. So we
are
have
they?
more. Yeah.
Okay,
Like
okay.
procedural
I've missed that
generation
part of
wise.
I've missed that part of the loop for the last couple years then because I
Yeah.
haven't been active.
The reason we don't have it is because we can't get to it because there's no server meshing.
Okay.
That's how they explain it to us. Just so you know,
I'd
I
like to
don't-
see
I
that
don't
proof
make
of
the game.
concept though. I am just saying.
Watch last year's CitizenCon.
Okay.
It's Pyro.
Oh, Pyro. Okay.
Yeah. There'll be moons of Pyro, I believe, and then I also believe they jump through a jump point.
Are there going to be more moons on Pyro?
Whatever is in the star map is there, is my understanding. And Pyro was like initially supposed to be this dead star system, and that's one of the panels of sort of what's changed or how it's not as dead as we thought it would be. Because if you go back to the old days of the lore around Star Citizen, I think you backed in 2015, they used to have like little updates around the planetary or the star systems, and a lot of them were like, this moon has nothing, this moon has a bunch of things, this moon has most of the moons and planets were just dead, like our star system, obviously, right? And the next as they started making Pyro, they realized, well, if we did that, it would be boring. So I think we're going to hear and see all the fruits of that labor in this year's first panel. I didn't hype myself up for that panel. I thought that panel was pretty dumb until I just put all that together in my head right now. So sorry for taking up the significant portion of your call up to this point. But yeah, my brain started going about that specific topic.
Well, I'm excited for it, but I don't see. I'm trying to think of the words here. I don't
excited is a word. Like, I don't know if either of us are excited based on our tone at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. But do we need to go back and redo things to keep redoing things like the 600i or Lorville? Because, like, to me, it like Lorville has that natural grounded aesthetic to it right now. Like, that's the lower middle class. That's where everybody comes from.
Yeah, but it's the
tech is
shittiest
kind of
designed.
Oh,
It's
yes,
the
it is. I
shittiest
agree,
designed.
100%. 100%. But if you go back and look at city productions, or not city productions, city layouts and stuff like that, the poor neighborhoods have that same kind of aesthetic to it. or the
Okay.
lower middle class.
But
So
this
why
is a
not
video
keep?
game. So like I think it's important that they like you want more star systems, right? I think this is kind of like the okay, we're done with this. We're done with this system and we're moving on. And now
Yes.
whatever we add to the game will be able to support the the systems that we add to it. Just a note on that, guys, is he was completely spitballing. It was a dev from Star Citizen. It was Elliot. He's going to be talking on one of the panels, the investigation panel. He doesn't work on this, so he was just spitballing that the older landing zones are not modular and they have a lot of issues with them. So there's kind of like a behind the scenes need for the update, like a development side of things. Need for that update as well. It's not just a visual, not just a layout thing. There's more to it than that. But he did just say that he was just spitballing. So,
All right, that's really all I had.
yeah, it's fine, dude. I kind of wanted the podcast to be around this time anyway. I think we have one more caller, and it's all good. It's hard to talk a lot on this. Are we excited? Are we not? And that's about it.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
All right, man. We'll talk to you. All right, and our final caller who just snuck in under the wire is Flair Hyranos. Let me get your name up there, Flair. And how you feeling about all this?
I think you guys you had a lot of like really good talks with people here, but there are a few things like I wanted to touch on and mention. For example, many were saying about the GPU or the graphics team tile or the PS or server meshing tile not being there. But I feel like for everyone who watched the last year one, they're kind of in the same roadmap still. If we follow the
Yeah.
monthly report, so they really don't have many things to watch. Show. For example, they said on the last time on the GPU updates that Gen 12 needs to reach future parity. Then they have to work on Vulkan, and after that they have to work on RTX or FSR, maybe related to a Squadron 42. I don't know. But then after that you have parallelization of threads, removing the render thread, and then they have work on mesh shader and stuff. And the thing is, like, none of them can even start yet because Gen 12 is not future parity yet now, according to the monthly report. So I feel like if they came on the talks, right, they're just gonna re-say the same thing they said last year. So maybe that's why they're not there,
Yeah,
And
and
the
that's
same thing,
okay, but I guess that's why people are kind of pointing it out.
yeah.
Is was that an expected thing? Was it not? And I think I totally agree. I wouldn't want to watch those panels because again, I fully agree with you. It would just be the same things as last year. And I mean, I think they're too technical for me personally. They're not my cup of tea. It certainly sounds like they're yours, and that's awesome. But
Yeah,
it
but
also sounds like that it would be the same thing. So like even somebody who is interested in the topic, you wouldn't want to see the same panel again
exactly,
2 years in a row.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. And also for PS, I feel like we all know that until PS is properly done or like in a good position, they cannot start work on server meshing the way it's looking, right? And the
Exactly.
way we got for the calling all devs like recently, I think like 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago,
Mhm.
it's like on fire, quoting the dev, right? So it's
Yeah.
on operationalization space. So even that, if they want to show something, they really can't, right? So those two panels, I guess, like people who are a bit more tech savvy wants to see it, won't be there. And for the rest, which I actually was a bit disappointed, but also I expected, I
Mhm.
think from the August monthly report, we saw talk about investigation mission, right? And that's exactly the panel they're going to show. Same
Yeah.
goes for planetary landscape update on Pyro, and same goes again for Lorville rework. Also about Lorville rework, I feel like since it was the first landing zone that they actually made, right? Many of the assets, not the places we can walk to, but the surroundings are very low poly, kind of like ArcCorp. And I feel
Yeah.
like they thought maybe if they want to update later on, because their plan is to add more zones to the landing zones, right? they won't be able to. So that's why probably they're actually reworking the meshes and everything, so that
Sure.
it actually is in the standard, as you actually pointed out, of Microtech maybe, or
Yeah.
even Horizon, right? Like, because the Horizon has buildings that are actually real buildings, right? Like you can fly through it or like towards it, and they actually have the new VFX tech for the
I mean,
windows
you
or
can go in
whatever.
them. They have elevators and floor. I
Yeah,
mean,
see, like,
like I guess ArcCorp had that, but it definitely took that to the next level.
exactly. So I think that's what they wanna achieve. So it's not like they wanna update, Lorville per se, but
Mhm.
it has to reach future parity so that future plans, can be worked on or like improved. And I guess that's where they're at. And even I think one thing I'm maybe looking forward to watch is the power relay system, because I think his name is Dan Truffin, right? Like he showed us
Yes,
long time
Dan's a
ago.
badass.
Yeah, I like his hairstyle and beard style as well, by the way. But the thing is, like, he showed a very long time ago. I think it was like around 2019 when he showed like the first concept of what power relay system is going to be. And recently, we only had a picture of the relay, so it's gonna be cool to actually see for the first time after so long, right? Like to be in maybe in game or maybe in the engine, or I don't know how they want to work on it. And beside that, I really am digging the thing about investigation mission, because according to their monthly report, they said that it was the most complex setup they have ever done for a mission archetype and stuff. So I want to see like where they are taking the investigation. What
Yep.
is it about? Is it
And
like story
Elliot
driven?
Elliot
Yeah.
made it very clear because I mentioned that I wasn't too excited about a singular mission, and then he made it very clear that it was an archetype, and it was
Yeah.
that it he just said it was an archetype, which makes it sound like it is
Modular, right?
yeah, it could be many different things, and we could see it in many ways throughout the future, right?
Exactly. And another thing that I think people are pointing out that are like sad about is not seeing Quanta. But for a long while, right, this year, I began to think is that Quanta's actual implementation, I don't think is even possible if they keep changing the backend so much, right? Like they're reworking the entire entity system, how it works and everything. And how are you going to fed up simulation data, right? If your own entities or how they work or like how they subdivided in servers are changing constantly. So I feel
What do you
like,
Sure,
yeah,
but what do you think about the thing that frustrates me is I agree with you 1,000%. I don't think anything should happen until after PES and after server meshing. I think we should have an actual drought of content in Star Citizen because I think it would benefit it and speed up the process. Short-term pain for a better long-term gain. And
agreed.
I don't care. Just close the doors. Don't do updates for a while. Whatever. Personally, I don't care. I know they're not going to do that. It is what it is. But I look at something like Quanta and go, well, okay, you told us that you're able to change the prices of fuel dynamically. Why does fuel cost 2 cents? Like that's the only thing that I take from this is
Yeah, that's another
it does
interesting thing.
work
Yeah.
and there are things, and I just wish if they were to do an update, they'd be like, here you go, guys, throwing you a little bone, even though this isn't the final implementation of this, and this isn't even what we want to do with this. Have some fun.
Yeah, I
That's all
agree.
I would
I
have
don't know
taken
what
with it.
they're testing with the data being so out of whack, like
Yeah.
the values, sorry, not the data. So I'm not sure what they're actually trying to test. Yeah, even the mission system, the tailored mission like Seas of Origin or Xenothreat, they don't feel like dynamically scalable the way they're making. I'm not sure what
Yeah.
they're testing, whether they're testing their tools, like the new substantion tool or whatever.
Hmm.
I'm not really sure what they're doing with it. But it
Yeah.
definitely feels like that Quanta or like dynamic mission system, which we really want, like since 2018, I think, is not feasible until actually, the backend archetype or tech is actually set in stone. Not the graphic one, but at least your, network or like how, entity works is
Yeah, sure.
stable.
I agree.
Uh,
But then we continue to add things to the game over and over and
yeah,
over again and make that more complicated and extend the time in which that actually happens over and over
exactly.
and over again for literal
And plus,
years.
I think there was a very good point about, since they're also working heavily right now on Squadron 42, and they cannot show us, so they really don't have much really to show us, right? Like unless, except for something on Pyro, which we know already, like some stuff, and some stuff they will like show, for example, the outpost looking really cool and whatnot, the one where you have, I guess, the gangs or whatnot. So
I mean,
unless that, we
yeah,
really don't have nothing new. For example, as you talked about, they have Nyx, they have maybe Odin, right? Like we know those two are being worked on.
squadron system, yeah.
Yeah, but they don't really ever show us, except for the map for TOW. I forgot the name really without the acronym.
We
Except
don't
for
talk
that,
about theaters of war
yeah.
here, okay, sir?
So yeah,
It's not
except
real.
that one, right?
It's just a dream.
They never showed us Nyx or Odin or anything. And I have a feeling, right? Like people keep saying that Pyro is completed. I have a feeling Pyro, like setting up, where a station is going to be in what Lagrange point, or which kind of clouds, like gas clouds we will have there, or what kind of, derelicts we might see. I feel like they never set up those things. So even if you have the planet and you don't have the dressing, let's say, then you can't really say it's ready, right? So that's why maybe they never showed us, Pyro, and they keep saying, oh, we need server meshing to do that. Because at the end of the day, all they could do is, rather than you logging in into Stanton, you're just logging into Pyro, right? Like if they want to test something or show us, like there is no need to wait for, server meshing to do that. The only reason it might be is that they didn't set up the whole, uh, let's say the star system, like the way planets are situated in, let's say, Stanton. Maybe they
This
never
drives me
set up in the,
insane. Like that.
yeah,
No offense, but because this is the way they're doing it, is to even think that this is remotely a good idea, and the way they're doing things
I
is,
totally agree. Yeah,
like we're talking about setting up entire planets and outposts and things and all these things without the gameplay already implemented in. So
exactly.
you like, how should everything, what should everything be influenced by? The in-game design of the elements that building, that outpost, that planet, that ship, that armor, that weapon would touch.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's why,
yeah,
like, they're using the narrative team and whatnot. I feel like the only team that is doing a stellar job maybe is the Montreal one, that they are actually been situated to do work, to deliver content, right? Like
yeah,
that's the only good hope I see, beside obviously the tech team, because you don't see their work, obviously, what they're doing or
yeah.
whatnot. But as far as team goes, content wise, I think I really loved everything I saw from March until now from the Montreal team. I think that's
And
what
guess
gives
who's
me hope.
not going to be talking at?
Oh
Oh
yeah,
no, they are.
exactly.
No,
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about it.
I
That's
guess
actually a very good point.
you get
Oh my god. Yeah.
the Lorville. That's them.
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah, true,
the
true.
content that you liked from them that you've seen so far,
Yeah.
they won't be talking much about that, right? So
And one thing that worries me is that for the last 2 years, so 21 and 22, we have been only talking about colonialism outpost, nothing else archetype wise, Like it's
yeah,
been like a dead silence on those. It feel like they never worked in parallel on those. So
Flair. This
now
is
they're
the
just
third year in a row
exactly, yeah.
on this star system. 2 years in a row on these outposts.
That's why, like, which is sad. Like, I can
What do
understand
you?
it's taking time due to the tech, right?
Yeah, like, do you are we supposed to be excited? I don't.
I agree. Like, after a while, it gets stale. If they showed up, let's say, something new, like, let's say, Elysium, or maybe a planetary tech evolving, right, to show new dense forests, or like trees that are like much taller than you, so you can hide around, at least biome difference, right? Like huge biome differences that are not just, what we have right now. Maybe I would have feel more excited,
I just
saying,
wonder what
okay, there.
Jared was on about, the something that you don't know about or whatever. He made some weird
Oh,
comment at
oh,
the
right,
end.
right, right. In the last ISC, right? Yeah, I see
They're
what you mean.
hiding some shit. They're hiding
Yeah.
something. But then I still, even if it's the most cool thing that they could ever show, I don't believe it'll be in the game at any point. They have never given me a reason. Like, they
Exactly.
used to
Like,
give me reasons to be excited, and I've lost that faith and trust in them to actually excite me in the game. So it's
my dream was, when Microtech came out, right? That cool mission where he was hiding. They went to I don't know if it's an outpost or somewhere, and they killed the guards, and they got the what it's a chip, right? Like it's a AI blade or whatever.
yeah.
I really hope for that mission to be in by now, even if it was like scripted or like handmade, right? At least something cool where you do it, but even that, it's not in
But
yet.
hey, when it's windy, you put your hand over your head. That's
Exactly.
in.
Yeah.
Pretty sick, right?
Because I think from the letter of the chairman, we've pretty much knew about that this CitizenCon is not gonna be, what we are expecting it to be, which is sad because this is the 10th year, right? Like, so they should do like a next level anniversary or something, like enjoy or like be happy, but they're so focused, looks like, on working because they don't have stuff delivered yet that they promised, that they don't feel like themselves, if they actually faked something and actually they showed us some
Holy shit.
fake
I
stuff.
didn't even think of that, dude. This is
Yeah.
the 10-year anniversary. Normally you would celebrate 10-year anniversaries.
Exactly.
This is the most depressing thing I've ever thought of in my entire life. This
I
is
opened
so
your
depressing.
Yeah, that's why I think people are a
Holy
bit sad.
shit.
I
You
guess
just
that could
ruined
be
my
one
day,
other
Flair.
topic no, sorry. I guess that's another topic you can talk about, like
Yeah, I
it's the
guess. Oh my god, you just ruined
no, I
everything.
feel bad now, sir.
No, I was already unhappy with it, but it's just crazy to think about, right?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Because I was shocked, right? Like when I read on May the chairman letter that for the 10th year they're not gonna push because everyone is like focused on PS or whatever else like they're doing. But it feels bad because they should do something extra, right? Like maybe hire some extra people from outside to showcase or like record what they're doing because it's the 10th year, like this is something monumental for them. I guess they want to deliver, at least
Monumentally depressing.
true. I guess they wanted to deliver like in their mindset, okay, what we're gonna do by December, we're gonna show static meshing maybe tier 0 or something, so that we can celebrate, at the end of the year of achieving something. But the way they're going with PS, because it's filled with bugs and it has to need reach feature parity with every team that are working on, so fixing all their workload, changing into the new branch. I think they're biting more than they hoped for. So now they're just staying quiet, which is fine because every time they just hype us up and then we get depressed, right? But this time they're just setting the what you call like the stage low, right?
Yeah.
As they say.
And I think it's good. That's what I liked about the letter. But
Yeah.
all right, Flair. I think we'll let you go because this is about where I wanted to end the podcast around an hour.
It's
And
been a
I'm
pleasure.
glad,
Thank you very much.
glad I got you in. You're popping in and out. You weren't sure if you were going to come on or not.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. I got you. Thank
Sure.
you. And we'll see you and talk to you soon.
Definitely. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Again, I don't know what my plans are for CitizenCon, the 10-year celebration. Oh, no. But we'll see. Over the next couple of weeks, I'll see if we're going to do anything. I think we will do something similar to what we had done in the past. Watch it live with some friends, although since it's been a while, it may be very different people than have been on those live streams in the past, since a lot of my friends have kind of moved on and are doing their own thing or whatever from the old redacted days. But yeah, I still have to debate and think whether or not it's worth it to take a day off of work for something like this, or Switch or something like that. Saturdays are big days at if you work in a casino, right? It's a big money day. And is it worth it to take the day off to watch a bunch of developers talk about game development, which is not necessarily something that I find super interesting. So thank you for watching Answer the Call. That has been another week. Just a note, there will not be and answer the call next week. I will be at the Florida Bar Citizen, so I will not be here, and I will basically be doing an answer the call in person, I guess. I won't be live streaming or posting or doing anything there. It's going to be a little mini vacation for me and the wife. We're going to go to whatever Disney Studios, wherever the Star Wars park is, and check that out since we've never been there before, and we're going to enjoy the weekend and just hang out. So yeah, probably a lot of pics on Twitter and things like that. So again, no answer the call next week, but if this is your first answer the call, make sure you get down and hit subscribe for future ones. If you guys enjoyed the podcast, make sure you hit the like, subscribe button, and comment down below on, let me know what you think, what are your expectations are, what panels you're excited for, and if you think Chris should be there or not. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I guess I'll see you on Week in Review on Monday.